Hello, it's 4 o'clock in Nigeria, and this is Nationwide. Thank you for joining us. We are transmitting live from Abuja. I am Ogochkuka Ona. The Senate has resolved to organize a national security summit involving delegates from all tiers of government, traditional institutions, civil society organizations, security experts, and other Nigerians to find solution to the challenge of insecurity in the country. It is among resolutions in the Senate on resumption of plenary after a break of 5 weeks. This is sequel to a motion from Senator Jimo Ibrahim and 3 others who noted that insecurity in the form of banditry, terrorism, kidnap for ransom, and other violent crimes are pervasive. Therefore, imperative to conduct the fact-finding security summit to find a way out of the situation, which has also become a threat to Nigeria's economy. Senate has also set up an ad hoc committee chaired by the Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele to oversight activities of the sole administrator in Rivers State. And similarly, President Bola Tinubu has transmitted the Federal Capital Territories 2025 budget proposal of 1.78 trillion naira to the House of Representatives for consideration. Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, read the President's request on the floor as lawmakers reconvened for plenary after a 5-week Salah and Easter recess. Members expressed concern over a resurgence of terrorist attacks in the northeast and other parts of the country, while calling for decisive military onslaught against terrorist activities. At resumption of plenary, 6 members of the House from Delta State defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, while 2 Labour Party lawmakers from Enugu State moved to the PDP. And now the House Committee on Aviation Technology and Aerospace has pledged to support the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, in attaining its full potential as an aviation institution comparable around the world. The committee, led by its chairman, Karim Abiodun Tajuddin, gave the remark during an oversight visit to the college in Zaria, Kaduna State.
Expert Danjuma Ismail was appointed months ago to head the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, Zaria. And now, this oversight visit by the House Committee on Aviation and Aerospace Technology is part of the quest to position the college as an aviation training hub in Africa. The lawmakers get down to business, engaging the rector and departmental heads on the standards of the college, especially at the training school, to ensure alignment with the Renewed Hope agenda.
Simulate rain, thunderstorm, turbulence, simulate other aeroplanes.
The committee also inspected the smoke and fire simulator, said to be one of the best in Africa, as well as the Boeing 737 simulator station for training pilots.
Nobody will want that kind of an edifice to go down. By the time we get back, we will turn in our report and see what we can do to actually move this place forward.
Right from whether a cleaner or a driver or a vehicle inside an airport needs to have a license and other things, so not talk of pilot. So every aspect of aviation is being given license before it operates. So we are now providing the trainings, both the ab initio, that's the initial, and also the continued professional development.
Since establishment in 1964, the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, thrives as a leading institution in regional aviation education with state-of-the-art facilities and rigorous training programs. Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
And shifting attention to judicial matters now, the Federal High Court has ordered the Prosecution Counsel in the alleged terrorism acts against Nnamdi Kanu to serve the defendant all documents and materials needed for trial in the interests of justice. The presiding judge, Justice James Omotosho, gave the order when an attempt to tender a letter and video in evidence by the prosecution was objected to by the defense counsel. Judiciary correspondent Austin Anyabe reports.
Proceeding commenced with the conclusion of the cross-examination of the first prosecution witness by the Defense Counsel Kanu Agabi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Agabi's son sought to know from the first prosecution witness whether he was aware that 8 out of the 15 count charge bordering on incitement of members of the public against the officers of the Nigerian police, government infrastructure, and breaking away of some states in the east, south, and north-central from Nigeria, preferred against the defendant, have been struck out by the court. The witness said he was not aware of such development. After the discharge of the first witness, the prosecution proceeded to call the second witness. Led in evidence, the witness, who is a personnel of the DSS, told the court that he took the statements of the defendant in 2021, following a letter they received from the Attorney General of the Federation requesting the service to investigate him on an alleged act of terrorism. He said the interview was conducted in the presence of his counsel and some directors of the DSS. The witness said the defendant in the interview admitted to be the leader of IPOP and ESN, as well as the founder of Radio Biafra, which was not registered by the Nigerian government. The prosecution counsel Adegboyega Awomolo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, proceeded to tender the letter from the Attorney General of the Federation and the audiovisual recording of the said interview, but were objected to by the lead counsel, Kanu Agabi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The defense counsel said the materials sought to be tendered were not on the list of documents pleaded, more so that they were not served. Justice James Omotosho upheld the objection of the defense counsel and directed the prosecution to serve the defendant all the documents and materials that are to be used as evidence in the case in the interest of justice.
The documents they wanted to rely on were not served on the defense. And indeed, the court doesn't even have copy. So the court agreed to their suggested adjournment for tomorrow.
The case continues Wednesday, 7th May 2025 for continuation of examination in chief of the second prosecution witness. Meanwhile, the court barred one of the relatives of the defendant from attending 3 consecutive sittings for streaming live the court proceedings. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it has granted administrative bail to Martins Vincent Osei and would be released after fulfilling all the bail conditions. In a statement issued in Abuja, the EFCC advised that the suspect was arrested after several invitations were extended to him, which he did not honor. The arrest of the suspect, EFCC maintains, was as a result of a series of petitions bordering on sundry issues of alleged financial crimes raised against him, which the Commission cannot ignore. The Commission reaffirms its determination to continue its right against money laundering and other financial crimes. The mental health, safety and dignity of Nigerian students are now given more priority with the launch of the National Anti-Bullying Policy and its implementation guidelines. This was at a citizens and stakeholders engagement on Nigerian education sector in Abuja. Zenret Dingun reports.
The National Anti-Bullying Policy was a seed sowed at the start of the present administration and now is a proud moment for all as it blossoms. Stakeholders here agree that the progress made so far under the Nigerian Education Sector Renewal Initiative, as well as promise of greater benefits in the areas of out-of-school children and Almajiri education, TVET, STEM, girl-child education, and teachers' training and welfare will be achieved with the necessary collaboration.
This is expected to lead to more effective resource allocation, improved service delivery, and buy-in of major stakeholders. We quite believe that there is a need for a strong team.
We have to use technology. Like the president would say, technology is the enemy of corruption. So we will migrate sustainability from this November 2025. The November exam and record and right to do will be accessibility. From 2027, all exam will be accessibility.
In an increasingly competitive global driving innovation, productivity, and social cohesion.
The conversation continues as better ideas will be developed towards transforming the sector. In Abuja, Zenred Dingmun, NTA News.
And still talking education, the proposed ban of the use of mobile phones in both private and public secondary schools in Oyo State, as moved by the legislative arm in the state, has been a matter of public discourse for some time now. Ahead of the enforcement, what is the take of stakeholders? In this report, correspondent Oyeyinka Omole examines merits and demerits of the ban on learning activities in the state.
As part of efforts to enhance teaching and learning activities in secondary schools in Oyo State, the legislative arm recently adopted a motion calling for the ban of use of mobile phones by students in schools, considering its negative impact on the learners. The legislators believe that phones promote indiscipline and cause distractions. As such, urged the executive arm to implement the motion.
If a motion is raised, we are still putting them under consideration. We professionals, we need to look at the merit of the use of a mini computer. I wouldn't want to call it Android phone. It's a mini computer anyway.
Our secondary school children we are talking about here must have a quick access to information.
They therefore implored the state government to be critical in enforcing the ban. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
And we now link up with Oyeyinka again in Ibadan, but this time live to give more insight. So Oyeyinka, the ban on the use of mobile phones in schools, what are the pros and cons, and what are the people saying?
Yes, sir. Thank you and welcome to Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State. It was on 15 April 2025 when it was muted by the House of Assembly through a motion that there should be a ban on use of mobile phones in secondary schools across the state. Thereafter, the House adopted the motion and forwarded it to the Office of the Secretary, to the state government for further transmission to the Ministry of Education. Now, at the Ministry of Education, we are told that they do receive different opinions about educational processes in the state, and which they will collate and forward to the apex body of education in Nigeria, which is National Council on Education, for further scrutiny before they can implement such in the state. Well, it was believed that talking about the merits of using the phone, the House perceived that the demerits outweigh the merits, and it is causing a kind of distraction for students in their academics, as well as different vices like cyberbullying, indiscipline, and sextortion, and so on and so forth, which may impede in their academic successes. Taking these to educationists, they believe that talking about the merit and the merit should be placed side by side and see which one outweigh one another before the state could decide on which one is better for the schools in the state. More so, the world is moving towards technological innovation, and Oyo State cannot be left behind. And this has to do with the use of phones, laptops, palm tops, and so on and so forth, to enhance inclusive education, as in connective education in our schools. So those are the issues for excuse me, those are the issues for now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know whether you can get a little water there to take, but lastly, how is enforcement going to look like? I believe your voice can come up now.
Yes, talking about the enforcement, the Ministry of Education still have that duty to enforce the ban, but that has to go through the normal protocol and processes, like involving the National Council on Education to determine how when and where to actually implement the ban. Is it actually going to have a positive impact on the students? Even looking at the way NECO and the way JAM, the UTME is being conducted now, everything is computerized. So they believe the student will be able to source materials from the internet using their smartphones. But generally speaking, talking about this enforcement, it has to come from the Ministry of Education. It cannot be done in isolation with the collaboration of the National Council on Education. Thank you, and I hand you over to Kemi in our Ibadan studio for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Oyeyinka, and welcome to Ibadan Studios. Moving on, about 300 farmers in Ogun State are beneficiaries of the second edition of the Renewed Hope Agricultural Support Initiative of Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Hakim Jimo reports that wife of Ogun State Governor Bamidele Abiodun, while flagging off the program on behalf of the First Lady, says the initiative is aimed at enhancing food security for sustainable development.
Beneficiaries of the Renewed Hope Agricultural Support Initiative cut across the 3 senatorial districts of Ogun State, including the 100 owners of Every Home a Garden, 50 women and 50 youths in agriculture, as well as members of Young Farmers Club from 100 secondary schools. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the wife of Ogun State Governor Bamidele Abiodun, says the launching of the expanded program is aimed at boosting food security, employment creation, and wealth generation to enhance the quest for self-dependence.
Agriculture remains one of the most effective tools for sustainable development, as recognized by the World Bank, which continues to affirm that growth in the agriculture sector is 2 to 4 times more effective in raising incomes amongst the poorest than growth in other sectors.
Some of the beneficiaries appreciate the First Lady for her vision to transform the lives of the people, especially the young and women farmers.
And we also have some seedlings we are given that we can plant at the back of our yard there. This will encourage us, especially with the women.
A lot of people are not aware of this, so we should do more awareness for people, and there should be kind of monitoring.
Stakeholders advise the beneficiaries to judiciously utilize the take-home from the support program. In Abeokuta, Hakim Jimo, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police Force says it will continue to expose its officers and men to diverse modern training focused on addressing the unique security challenges of all geopolitical zones of the country. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun emphasized this while flagging off a combat operations training for deputy squadron commanders at the Police Mobile Force Training College in Ilaorogun, Osun State. Kayode Oladoshu reports.
In the face of evolving security threats across Nigeria, the police force is stepping up its game. This tactical training is specially designed for deputy squadron commanders drawn from police mobile force units across the country. The Inspector General of Police, in his message, said the training equipped commanders with advanced facilitation skills, enabling them to also train others, creating a ripple effect for sustained capacity building across the force.
We are here to re-strategize so that hoodlums, kidnappers, whatever names that you give them, they will be on their toes, they will run away.
The commandant in charge of the training urged participants to be detail-oriented, noting that operational success depends on discipline and precision.
You are entrusted with significant responsibilities. You serve as the backbone of your respective squadrons, stepping in to support your commanders, ensuring that operations run smoothly and providing guidance to your teams.
I want to encourage them to be dedicated.
The training, themed Strengthening Tactical Excellence and Resilience, aims to produce officers with the professionalism and tactical edge to face today's security threats. From Ilaorogun, Kayode Oladoshu, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. More reports on Nationwide after the break with Ogochukuka in Abuja.
Thank you for staying tuned. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu says adopting a collaborative approach will help tackle drug abuse and trafficking in order to build a healthier nation. Elizabeth Omoyi reports that this was a message to Nigeria governors' wives and key actors on drug supply and demand reduction at a drug use prevention and treatment training program.
Supply and demand crucial issues across the globe requiring a multifaceted approach that involves individuals, government and communities. Survey shows that 1 in 5 drug users suffers from disorders that affect productivity. As a government agency with a clear mandate, NDLEA and the Nigeria Governors' Wives are strategizing to come up with adoptable solutions to address the scourge of drug abuse from the home front to society. The First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, and other state actors believe that mobilization of state resources for drug prevention, reintegration and rehabilitation of victims is the task before all.
Continue to provide the right direction through prevention initiatives, advocating for those whose voices have been silenced by addiction, providing community interventions to support recovery.
As patriots and vanguards of our nation's well-being, it falls on us to strengthen our resolve to move with deliberate speed towards practical and lasting solutions that will, God willing, break the vicious cycle of drug abuse.
The Governor's Wives, who exchanged workable approaches, disclosed that Nigeria needs to prioritize sustainable programs to heighten advocacy on the consequences, backed with stringent policies.
When you see the behavior of your child has changed, you have to investigate. Parents need to sit up and do all these things to see that we reduce the menace of drug abuse as a family.
For us as a state government, we have been working tirelessly to tell the youth that drug does not pay.
They recommend localized interventions, decentralized treatment for affordability, and mandatory drug testing before marriages are contracted. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu greets veteran journalist and former executive director of TEL magazine, Oludare Babarinsa, on his 70th birthday. In a statement signed by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Nanuga, President Tinubu salutes the chairman, managing director of Gaskia Media for attaining the milestone marked by decades of dedication and service to nation building, acknowledging his commitment to the political and economic integration of the Yoruba people. The president lauds Babarinsa's distinguished journalism career, which began at the Daily Times, evolving to activism through his work at the Concord newspapers, Newswatch, struggle for the enthronement of democracy and press freedom, to his 15 years of service as executive director of TEL magazine. President Tinubu wants him, alongside his colleagues in the Nigeria Guild of Editors, to sustain professionalism and mentor a generation of new media leaders who value truth, accuracy, balance, and fairness. The lineup indicates that we are heading straight to Lagos now, where Awal will be bringing us the next set of reports. Hello, Awal. Will be bringing us the next set of reports.
The House Committee on Works has commended the professional expertise, pace of work and commitment with which contracts at various major projects within Lagos are carried out under the supervision of the Controller, Federal Ministry of Works, Lagos. Amaka O reports that this was made known by the committee members led by the chairman, Akin Alabi, during an oversight tour to inspect projects firsthand in the state.
The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is a legacy project of the present administration and considered a catalyst for economic development in all frontiers. This is why the House Committee on Works, led by its chairman, Akin Alabi, in company of the Controller, Federal Ministry of Works, Lagos, Olukorede and her team, had an inspection of a nearly completed 22-kilometer section of the road.
As for this
I'm super impressed.
And we don't need to give any substandard job to the federal government of Nigeria.
They made a brief stop at the Independence Bridge and had a thorough inspection of the over 3 kilometer shoreline protection project along Outer Marina axis, which was last constructed 4 decades ago.
With what we're doing here now, the lifespan of this road now has increased by more than 25 years. So in the next 25 years, we're not expected to see any failure on that road.
The massive control center that houses over 100 cameras for surveillance and monitoring along the third mainland bridge axis also played host to the legislators.
Definitely going to reduce crime by a large percentage. When they come with another request, the Committee on Works, in conjunction with the Committee on Appropriation, will have no hesitation. We will support them and appropriate good money to complete the project.
Satisfied with the stage of the project, the House Committee on Works urged the contractors not to relent as they promised to support the ongoing projects through their legislative roles. The chairman of the committee also called for adequate sensitization of Lagosians ahead of closure of the Marine Bridge. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Moving on to education, where ethical use of AI in academics has become paramount with recent developments in different classrooms across the world. But it will require provision of guidelines and rules that must be strictly adhered to ensure AI usage does not compromise academic integrity. Larry Belay has more.
The emergence of artificial intelligence technologies in educational pursuits prompted mixed reactions from academics. While some fully embrace these technologies as the future of the workforce, it could be used to negatively impact students' behavior. For this school of thought, they highlighted easily accessible, fast, accurate, efficient write-ups and broadened knowledge, while the other camp believes issues such as cheating will wear a more terrifying mask and critical thinking will suffer.
We should be careful the way it is being deployed in the university system. One, on the part of students, to make students to be lazy, and I say lazy, they will not be able to do critical thinking again. They will be using AI for their projects, so they will be using AI for their assignments, and the real essence of education, which is critical thinking, enlightenment, openness of mind, will no longer be there because they rely on AI for everything.
The consensus, however, is that there must be rules and guidelines to ensure its ethical use by the teachers and students.
We cannot wish away artificial intelligence. We can only use it intelligibly and ethically. It crawls through the web. It amasses all of the data and information that are available, and it presents it in a logical way, in such a way that you and I can relate with it and make meaning out of it.
The ethical use will guarantee academic integrity, improved fairness, and confidence in results, as well as ensure that originality of researches and any body of work in the academia is not of robotic responses put forward. In Lagos, Larry Belayi, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. Nationwide will continue with Ogochukwuka in Abuja. Ogochukwuka, it's back to you.
Thank you, Awal, for your contribution. Now, the federal government has approved the launch of the NIN Authentication Service, NINAUT, for secure and seamless identity verification across ministries, departments, and agencies. A statement by NIMS's head of corporate communications, Kayode Adegoke, indicates that President Bola Tinubu has directed that all government services adopt the NINAUT platform as part of efforts to strengthen the national identity management system under the Renewed Hope agenda. Developed by the National Identity Management Commission, NINAUT offers web, API, and mobile access for real-time identity verification. The statement adds that it introduces advanced security features, protects user privacy, and allows individuals to manage how their data is shared. Adegoke says the service will be used for processes including SIM registration, passport applications, tax fillings, driver's license renewals, and access to intervention programs. NINOT, he says, is now the exclusive platform for NIN-based verifications and authentication across MDAs. Nigerians are advised to download the NINOT app on their smartphones with implementation guidelines available at ninot.nimc.gov.ng. The alarming rate of unemployed youths and restiveness has compelled the Adamawa State government to engage 100,000 youths in skills training to produce a responsible and productive society. And the training exercise is now yielding positive results as search for white-collar jobs is gradually phasing out. All right, we'll now be joining Bilkisu Abubakar to speak more on this. So, Bilkisu, yes, I can see you. So what skills are these youths being equipped with? Are they on-demand skills?
Yes, of course. Consider, as you said, considering the alarming rate of a number of youths who are out there idle, doing nothing, which is the major reason for social vices. Let the Adamawa State government to take proactive measures to tackle the youth restiveness in the society. To this effect, the government now deemed it necessary to train people, especially the youth and women who are now taking the training exercise in various vocational centers here in Adamawa State across the 21 local government areas, where we have visited some of the training centers here in the state capital, where we have seen number of youths being trained on various training, and which they have appreciated the effort of the government. And already the Adamawa State government has empowered so many people. For instance, at the tail end of the 2024, 65,000 people were empowered with 50,000 naira each, where the business for their business activities, of which is yielding positive results. And the government is now working with the Bank of Agriculture and among other financial institutions, so as to support those that have been trained by the Poverty Alleviation and Wealth Creation Agency in Adamawa to make them be self-reliant. Already the investment of the government is yielding positive results in all the nooks and crannies of the state, because our correspondent right now is one of the local governments here in Southern Zone, and he has given us feedback as regards to the training of the government.
All right, you rightly said it's already yielding positive results. Can you enumerate some of these, what impacts? I mean, tell us, maybe like two.
The impacts are many, especially those that we have interviewed at the field. They said that they are now self-reliant. Well, once among them, who by name Aliu Ingeli, who said the training has enabled them to know the technical process of the automobile machines, of which he is doing wonderfully well. And one among the women that have been empowered here in the Jimeta Modern Market was really appreciated, because initially she don't have a capital to start the business, but now she is now employing about 3 women under her, doing so many various business under her shop.
I thank you very much, Bilkisu. Adamawa State Government making life more purposeful for the people. Kudos. Thank you for that contribution. And back here, regional security experts converge on Abuja to scale up action against terrorists' acquisition of improvised explosive devices. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa brings us updates from the Counter-Terrorism Center in the Office of the National Security Advisor in Abuja, where experts are tackling the pressing issue of increased IED attacks by terror groups.
Aside threats related to the proliferation of small and light weapons, the use of improvised explosive devices by terrorists expanded between 2014 and 2022 in West Africa, with Cameroon, Niger, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria bearing the brunt. IED has become a popular weapon of choice to terrorists due to its accessibility and ability to cause mass destruction. The Small Arms Survey of 2022 indicates more than 2,200 IED-related incidents between March 2014 and September 2022, with 6,600 casualties in the region.
The threat of terrorism knows no border, and it's highly through collaborative efforts such as this that we can effectively confront and defeat this menace.
We consider the capacity building efforts of the West Africa Capacity Building Working Group and our West African partners more relevant than ever. The agenda of this meeting builds, among others, on the Working Group's regional meeting of 2023, which emphasized the need to strengthen national and regional counter-IED expertise, disrupt the supply chains of IED components, and turn intelligence into evidence.
Threat posed by IED are further compounded based on the fact that the items used for the illegal manufacturing of the device are cheap and easily accessible. The program is focused on sharing knowledge and best practices to consolidate efforts to effectively prevent and counter the acquisition and use of IED by terrorist groups in West Africa. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Democracy, in collaboration with Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative, is championing a new dimension, sustainable electoral reform and economic solutions to democratic inclusion and participation in Nigeria. The groups emphasized the three key factors, namely poverty, credibility threshold for elections, and shrinking civic space as major influencers for a free, fair, credible and transparent democracy, and for increased advocacy for grassroots mobilization. The frontline advocacy groups also proposed recruitment and reinforcement of security forces during and after elections to ensure a safe atmosphere that will guarantee a seamless outcome of results.
Recommendations as a result of the policy for engaging legislative advocacies and to ensure that this is not just had in this room.
One of the things we are hoping to do with this policy dialogue is to examine issues around voter apathy and then be able to recommend policy directions that we believe that if government adopts will address those issues.
We want our leaders to address the contemporary challenge of insecurity, and they can do it if they can invest more in the security agencies. They can recruit more. They can more hardware procurement.
Other leaders who spoke appealed to stakeholders to engage rural populists and deployment of advanced technologies in minimizing cases of electoral fraud and monitoring successes during the exercise. And Bill Kisunuhu is in Jos for more reports on Nationwide Today.
Welcome to Jos. The General Officer Commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Folusho Oyinlola, is reaffirming his commitment to providing maximum security for a successful farming season in his operational areas. He gave the assurance during a Stakeholders Peace Summit in Sanga local government area of Kaduna State. Indiang and Abuja reports.
With the theme, Peaceful Coexistence Towards a Successful Farming Season, the summit was convened to promote peace, understanding and reconciliation between farmers and herders. Addressing stakeholders, Major General Oyinola said the visit is part of efforts to foster dialogue, prevent conflict, and ensure a successful violence-free farming season. He stressed that the agriculture sector is vital to national development and urged stakeholders to create an enabling environment where farming and herding activities can thrive peacefully.
I urge all stakeholders here present to ensure that the insights and resolutions from this seminar are cascaded to those who could not be here today.
Resource persons at the summit also emphasized the critical need for peaceful coexistence by residents of the local government. They note that peace is the foundation for a successful farming season, adding that without unity, understanding, and mutual respect among religious groups, efforts to achieve agricultural prosperity will be undermined.
We must play our part, and we must be truthful and honest to ourselves. We must be accountable to ourselves and then to the people.
All stakeholders, all hands must be on deck for all of us to make sure there is peaceful coexistence so that we have a bumper harvest in Sanga local government.
In Denyan and the Abuja, NTA News.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang has described the former deputy governor of the state, late Professor Soni Tioden, as a reservoir of knowledge who impacted positively on the academic and political landscapes of the nation and the state. This was when he consoled with the deceased family in Jos. Mary Replong Domtur has details.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang, accompanied on the visit by the deputy governor and other top government officials, described the death of the former deputy governor, Professor Soni Tioden, as a devastating blow to the academic and political communities. He says the late professor of political science lived a worthy life with many legacies for the living to protect and to emulate.
I want to thank all of you who stood by him. And this hour, going forward, my appeal is that please, let's forge ahead together. Let's unite to protect, preserve, and project the legacy that he left behind.
On behalf of the family, Gemu Tioden thanked the governor for the visit, which he says has further humbled them as a family. He told the visitors that the former deputy governor has been a pace-setter in many ways, stressing that the best way to remember him is to uphold his legacies.
Indeed, Professor Tioden, he came, he saw, and he conquered.
Late Professor Soni Tioden was a lecturer with the University of Jos who rose to become the Vice-Chancellor of the university, and after the completion of his tenure, he was elected as Deputy Governor of Plateau State alongside then Governor Simon Bako Lalong from 2015 to 2023. In Jos, Mary Replong Domtur, NTA News.
That's all from Jos. Nationwide will continue in Sokoto.
Welcome to Sokoto. The European Union (EU), in partnership with the Nigerian government and other partners, has launched 3 landmark projects in Sokoto State worth more than 60 million euros. The initiatives, running from 2024 to 2027, will boost social protection, health system, and support communities affected by displacement. Dalhat Abdullahi has more.
The epoch-making event brought together ambassadors from 9 EU member states, led by the EU ambassador to Nigeria, Gautier Mignot. The projects launched include supporting sustainable social protection systems in Nigeria, strengthening access to reproductive and adolescent health, targeting improved access to high-quality reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health and nutrition services, expected to reach over 45 million children, adolescents, and women over 4 years. The third initiative is support for protection assistance and durable solutions to support community-led local action plans. Governor of Sokoto State, Ahmed Aliyu, represented, noted that the EU-funded initiatives will complement the administration's 9-point SMART agenda in the health sector.
We will assure not only the European Union, but all our development partners in providing support to our people.
Gautier Mignot reaffirmed the EU's commitment to invest in Nigeria's future.
In this format that we call Team Europe, the EU and its member states has also the purpose to strengthen our links of friendship and partnership with Sokoto and more generally with the northwest of Nigeria.
Other partners emphasize the importance of community-driven solutions aimed at building durable, inclusive futures for displaced families, their hosts, and transforming the lives of disadvantaged communities. Receiving the EU delegation, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, assured the readiness of traditional leaders to partner with governments and development partners toward ensuring the success of these initiatives. All the 3 programs are to be implemented in Sokoto State. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Sokoto State government has reaffirmed its commitment towards ending banditry and criminality for sustainable peace and development of the state and the northwest region. Deputy Governor Sokoto State Idris Muhammad Gubir made the assertion at a special dinner organized for the Syndicate 6 of Executive Intelligence Management Course 18 participants from the National Institute for Security Studies, Abuja, to culminate their one-week study tour to Sokoto State. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu reports.
Sokoto is among the states in the northwest region grappling with security challenges. At this dinner, Deputy Governor of Sokoto State Idris Muhammad Gobir expresses appreciation to the National Institute for Security Studies for the choice of Sokoto State for the study tour.
It will benefit the entire nation for its security, both technicality and strategy for our nation building.
Sokoto State is not only rich in history and culture, but also a shining example of plurality governance and community-driven security initiatives.
The participants are drawn from 82 agencies in Nigeria and 7 others from African countries for a 10-month training course leading to the award of Fellow Security Institute FSI, with aim to infer on the participants the required knowledge to address the dynamic and complex security challenges in their respective agencies and countries, as well as total interagency synergy and international cooperation. Within the period, a paper was presented titled Non-State Actors in Security Management, Issues, Challenges and Prospects for Peace and Development in Africa, Sokoto State in Perspective. While in Sokoto State, the participants visited Waziri Junaidu History and Culture Bureau. From Sokoto, Abdullah Umar Ilalu, NTA News.
And that is our package from Sokoto. Nationwide continues with Ugochikuka in Abuja.
Thank you, Asmao. And now let's take sports update.
Nigeria's under-20 men's football team, the Flying Eagles, will take on the Rising Stars of Kenya in a decisive encounter at the ongoing CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt on Wednesday. The match will be part of the decider on who progresses to the knockout stage of the competition after the Flying Eagles played a goalless draw with Morocco on Sunday. Nigeria is second in Group B with 4 points, equal with Group B leaders Morocco, who tops the group standings with superior goal difference, and Tunisia is third with 3 points after a 3-1 victory over Kenya, who is bottom on the log. Nigeria's Flying Eagles must beat Kenya on Wednesday to secure a place in the quarterfinals of the Under-20 tournament. In European football, the race to produce UEFA Champions League finalists will be decided on Tuesday and Wednesday night. On Tuesday night, Inter Milan hosts Barcelona at the San Siro for the return leg of the semi-final clash after the first leg ended 3-3 in Spain. While on Wednesday night, Paris Saint-Germain welcomes Arsenal to Paris with a 1-0 victory from the first leg. To swimming, Nigerian junior swimming team concluded their campaign at the 16th Africa Junior Swimming Championship in Egypt on a great note, securing 3 gold medals and a bronze medal, all courtesy of Abdul Jabbar Adama. The teenager delivered a historic performance and set new records on the continental stage. He broke the championship record twice. In Scrabble, Pan-Africa Scrabble Association, PANASA President, Nigeria's Adekoyejo Adegbeson, has won the Nairobi National Scrabble Championship. The PANASA President stunned bookmakers to win the 2025 edition of the championship held at the Strathmore University, Kenya. The competition, which had top Kenyan players like Grandmaster Alan Oyende, Gitonga, and Michael Gongola, saw the Nigerian recording 12.5 wins with 355 cumulative points in the 18-round 2-day tournament. The national championship served as a build-up to the continental-wide PANASA President Cup, which holds from August 14th to 17th, 2025. With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.